Alright, so we got another matchup here between myself and Shingen. I'm playing the Dark Elves, and I've got Crone Hellebrand, who is my favorite lord, as you may know by now. Also brought a Sorcerer's Shadow. I think Sorcerer's Shadow has maybe a niche against High Elves because High Elves tend to go with a lot of high tier infantry or cavalry. Especially cavalry and lords and things like that. So the debuffs are very helpful, and also for snaring, high elf cavalry is useful, right? You get Malakos Mystifying Miasma. Um, it's a very cheap spell for snares. Penundulum is also very good because high elves have expensive infantry that tends to go in like lines. And then I brought Occam's Mindrazor because Hellebrand can put out a shit ton of damage, and with Occam's Mindrazor, then her damage just goes off the charts. So if I could catch anything valuable in terms of individual targets, like let's say if there was a Tyrion or something like that, I would be able to kill him very quickly. My opponent Shingen has brought a Flying Prince with the support of a Life Mage. He does have a unit of Phoenix Guard, which was kind of interesting. A unit of Dragon Princes in the back, Swordmasters, 3 units of Archers, so he does have missile superiority on me. I did not bring a Bolt Thrower, which could have maybe forced him to engage with me, which could have changed the complexion a little bit, but instead, I went with 3 units of Cold One Knights. I tend to go with a little bit of extra cavalry against high elves because I know they have some very good cavalry and access to dragons, flame spires, and nobles, and just tons of large units. So it's nice to have a little bit of extra cavalry to deal with those threats because otherwise the only real anti-large I have are dread spears, which are slow and can be kited by cavalry, or blackguard is kind of the same thing. So I think Cold One Knights, they just offer the most versatility. And then if you take the Slaanesh Harvesters, they have again Word of Pain, right? So the idea is you just debuff the shit out of the high tier high elf units. So Slaanesh Harvesters with Word of Pain, and then the Sorceress of Shadow with her debuffs, and then that gives you a chance to kind of take out the elite stuff, and then you can rely on your Bleak Swords and Harganeth Executioners to pretty much kill everything else. I talked a lot. Let's get this battle started. So the White Lions are going to trade very well with my front line for the most part because I only have Bleak Swords. I do have these 2 units of Harganeth Executioners, but the Swordmasters will kind of trade a little bit evenly with them. I think the Harganeth Executioners will come out on top, but it's not like this high elf player took a paper front line. And he does have the Life Mage, so he can heal his units, whereas I cannot. I don't have Lore of Beasts, so I have no sort of protection for any of these frontline units. The damage they take will be permanent. Let's take a look at my perspective. So coming into these high elves, I've got 3 spears that have come out to meet me, and then there's also 3 units of archers. And so I need to decide, okay, am I going to use my cavalry to charge into the archers and kind of probe the gap, or am I going to be patient and just kind of, sit in this back line and then respond to any attacks from the high elves in the form of the Dragon Princes or the Prince? And it looks like my opponent Shingen is being pretty passive at this point. So I'm going to just, take my time. I'm not too worried about the High Elf Archers. They are shooting into the Harganeth Executioners, which is going to add up damage over time, but it's not armor-piercing missiles, so I don't have to be totally terrified about it. They are going to eventually be able to make contact with the front line. So he does intercept my Bleak Swords with the Spearmen, so I think that disables their charge bonus, and yeah, just a nice play by him. I think I wanted to, I don't know what I was doing here, very bad micro from me. I think I wanted to charge these Cold One Knights into the White Lions of Trace, or maybe slip, it looks like I'm going to try and slip the gap here. I do get a unit of Bleak Swords around here, and yeah, basically what I was doing is I was pushing for this Mage of Life, because I knew that if I could disable the Mage of Life, that was going to be a lot easier than just fighting the Prince toe-to-toe. Harganeth Executioners are going to be fighting these White Lions and go pretty evenly with them. Meanwhile, the Dragon Prince is getting a very nice rear charge on my Bleak Swords. But Hellebrand finds the Lore of Life Mage, and the Dragon gets wrapped up with this unit of Cold One Knights. The Shingen is going to notice that Hellebrand is exposed. She does have very light armor, and he's going to be shooting at Hellebrand with 2 units of archers. But Hellebrand should be able to break off this light mage. That is, unless the prince comes to her rescue, and he does come to the rescue just in the nick of time. So I squared up Hellebron to face the prince because I didn't want her taking a rear charge from the prince. It does, I think, affect how she's able to fight, but Hellebron takes a lot of damage from this prince. She dishes it out right back. I mean, the prince is basically wavered and broken off. So with the support of the Cold One Cavalry and that Fury of, or Gaze of Cain, I mean, the prince has gone on to life support, but it's been a very atrocious fight. The Hellebron took a lot of damage, and the Sorceress of Shadow, unfortunately, I didn't have her with Hellebron, I think, at the time. I'm not sure why. Maybe I was debuffing. I think I sent her over to debuff the Dragon Princes who had charged into the Bleak Swords, remember, over here? So, yeah, now I'm able to reunite her with Hellebron, and I'm going to pinch these Dragon Princes with the Dark Riders with repeater crossbows. Now, normally that's a fight I don't want, but I'm using their speed to pin them into the Cold One Knights and the support of Hellebron to and the Malakos to also keep them here. So once I had Malakos down, I knew I didn't need the Dark Riders as much, so I was able to sweep them around the side and get into the archers. But yeah, it looks like the prince is rallied. The Lord of Life healer has put some health back into the prince, and he's going to be trying to go where Hellebron is not. I think he realizes that these dragon princes are not going to be living much longer, so it looks like the left flank is shifted in my favor, but I still have a full health unit of Phoenix Guard that I've been ignoring to this point, and the right flank is going to get very dicey very soon. The prince is going to gear up here, and look at this opportunity for a massive breath attack that's going to just roast my troops. Now, I think he might have misclicked by using it on the Bleak Swords instead of on the Harganeth Executioners or the Cold One Knights, so very fortunate for myself there. That could have absolutely shattered my 3 units here and caused them to lose to the Swordmasters, but yeah, just craziness. Balance bar dead even actually going in my opponent's favor, but the Cold One Knights do pin the prince, who got greedy, I guess, chasing off some Bleak Swords, so there was no need to do that. He could have just flown in the air above the Bleak Swords and prevented them from rallying. It would have been better to do that rather than clicking on the Bleak Swords and getting charged by the Cold One Knights, who just put on a ton of damage onto him. So the Slanesh Harvesters did get into the archers and tied up the Life Mage again, but the Dragon Princes, they have rallied. I'm not sure. Maybe I missaw. I forget what they killed over here. Was that? I thought that was the unit of Dragon Princes, but looks like maybe they rallied and came back here and interrupted these Slanesh Harvesters, but I did put Word of Pain on them, so they will try and kite their way out of there because I didn't want to fight them. Maybe they could have fought them with the Word of Pain, I'm not sure, but I didn't want to take my chances. They had other things to do, like go and attack these archers who are now low on ammo, but yeah, I didn't want them shooting Hellebron or any of my cavalry. So Hellebron finally finds her way back onto the Lore of Life Mage, and that is going to instantly wreck her. The prince on the dragon has come back to life. He's going back on Hellebron. He's pissed off. He gets in a charge on her. She is going to try and get her way the hell out of here, but because of the dragon princess, she got disrupted. Very, very dicey situation for her. She's down to 850 health, I believe. The prince is down to 450 health. He's going to try and peel out of here because the Sorceress of Shadow got onto him and tagged him with Enfeebling Foe. So he knew he couldn't fight that. I also had these Cold One Knights very, very nearby, and had they tagged the prince, he would have been dead. So insane fight going on right here. But Hellebron is on the ground. The prince is up in the air. That means that I should have the advantage on this ground fight. The Phoenix Guard are going to make their way in here, but they're not here yet. So, oh my god, very intense battle. I've lost basically all of my infantry, aside from this very tattered unit of Bleak Swords. And it's going to be up to like a Crone Hellebron with 262 HP to try and deal with this unit of Phoenix Guard and very, very wrecked like High Elf infantry and this prince. So I thought this battle was probably going to come down to whether or not I could kill the prince or not, because if I could kill the prince, that meant I would have the mobility advantage, and I could kind of take my time to cycle charge with my Cold One Knights and other things as needed. If I was unable to kill the prince, that meant that he could basically use his Phoenix Guard as an anchor and just secure the front line, and then the game would have ended probably in a draw at the very least. So I'm going to hit the fast forward button here because there's a bit of posturing and repositioning as I try and decide what can I attack, what can I not attack. I'm going to hit these these white lions with a charge, and then I'm going to use these dark riders with repeater crossbows to get in one volley on the prince, and it's just enough to break his leadership. He's going to start fleeing with his 400 HP. I'm going to send the dark riders with repeater crossbows after him, but he rallies, so I was like, oh crap, I didn't notice that. And my dark riders with repeater crossbows, I only have 17 models, and they're not too high on leadership either. They only have a leadership of 10, but fortunately the prince thinks better of it. He didn't want to take any more volleys to the face or the butt or wherever else dragons tend to get shot. And so now it was up to Hellebrand going into these Phoenix Guards. So I was trying to use her Accursed Blade ability to cycle charge in and degen out these Phoenix Guard. I do have the Enfeebling Foe on them, but even with all those debuffs, these Phoenix Guard are just so elite that they were able to break off my Cav and break off Hellebrand. So that was really, really tough. And then my Sorceress of Shadow got stuck up in there, so I got a little bit cocky, I think, at the end, just thinking that, you know, with all those debuffs, I would be able to break off the Phoenix Guard. These guys are not a joke. They stuck out to the end. So now I'm like, okay, what units have low leadership? I see the white lines of Trace are very low, so I'm going to try and use my cycle charging to break them off. I can cycle charge the archers and these spearmen who got a little bit away from got a little bit away from the Phoenix Guard, but Hellebrand here down to 187 HP. Balance bar is still very, very close. So it could have gone either way, or it could have ended in a draw. I'm going to just fast forward here. I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? I use the Dark Riders with repeater crossbows to just use the last little bit of their ammo to shoot into these Phoenix Guard, and then one big Penundulum Overcast from my Sorceress of Shadow is going to do a little bit of damage to this Phoenix Guard and just give me like a fighting chance to maybe whittle them down a little bit. So the archers get broken off a little bit. The Dark Riders with repeater crossbows are going to go into melee mode, break them off, and then the last few shots are going to go into these Phoenix Guard, and because of that, they go down to break. So literally, I think the last bit of ammo that I had from my 6 leadership Dark Riders with repeater crossbows were able to break this unit of Phoenix Guard, and that was able to secure the victory for the Dark Elves. So insane fight. I think Shingen played it very, very well, as the High Elves definitely pushed me to my max. I don't know if there's much that I would have done differently. I was able to get onto the Lore of Life caster. I think I should have done a better job probably shadowing the Dragon Princes with my Cold One Knights. I think the Sorceress of Shadow should have been a little bit closer to Hellebrand. If I could have had her closer to Hellebrand in that initial fight with the Prince, maybe the Prince would have been dead and Hellebrand would have had more health to be more effective in the matchup. Other than that, I don't think there's too much I would have done differently. I think the Phoenix Guard were really tough to deal with, surprisingly. They are immobile though, and eventually that did cost them. Maybe if I had one repeater bolt thrower, that could have been a good option instead of going with double Harganeth executioners. But I mean, they did pay dividends, racking up close to over 100 kills, basically almost on both units if you average it out. So yeah, crazy fun game for Shingen. Maybe I would have gone a little bit wider with some maybe Silver Helms instead of the Dragon Princes. And I've never really liked the Sword Masters too much, but it seems like Shingen got some pretty good value out of them. So overall, very good game, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. Happy Easter, everyone, if I don't see you until after I get back. Take care. Bye.